Hi guys, welcome back to the Alex Film Thoughts podcast with me, your host Alex. Today is a video episode, and it's very weird because I haven't filmed a video episode in so long. If you're watching the video episode, you can see that I have nothing on my bed, etc., because I'm moving all my stuff out, and I have moved all of my stuff out, hence why I've got like no bedding or anything. I've literally got a suitcase and a blanket that's not even mine. I'm not sleeping here. I'm sleeping at my boyfriend's house, so we don't need bedding and everything like that. All of my clothes are gone except a suitcase. All of my cooking stuff is gone. It's really strange. Like all of my decorations, I just have that. You're not going to be able to know what I'm talking about if you're just listening to this. But where I'm pointing on the video version, you can see I've just got like the little clear plastic thing that I was hanging up all my post-it notes and stuff on. That is the only decoration I have right now. So yeah, my room is looking pretty bare right now, and it's going to be echoey. It's going to be an echoey episode because there's nothing in my room to sound. What's the word? Soundproof, sound muffle. I don't know. Um, yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the show or the podcast, or what other word can we use? To the audio experience. Today I wanted to talk to you about my story, basically. I'm holding the mic as if I'm like singing on a stage, and it's kind of making me laugh because I put the stand for my mic in with all of my other electronics to take home. So I actually don't have a mic stand, so I'm basically just, pop starring it with freehand. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about my story today. What I wanted to really just touch on is actually how I got to this point and to this like space in my business and in my life. I feel like I haven't really ever talked fully about it. I think I've touched on it and I've gone into a little bit of depth, but I want to go balls to the wall today, basically. Um, where do we start? Where did we start? Okay, I think we will start in 2016, 2017. So throw the net out, cast your mind back, that kind of thing. We are in 2016. We've just had the bang in 2016 summer. I am in college now. I have picked Spanish, chemistry, biology, and world development as my A levels. Um, I'm not thriving, to be honest. I've just finished my GCSEs, had a great summer, went to Reading, everything, got my results. All of my results were really good, but I was dreading my actual A levels experience. I'd already had a bad experience with one of the teachers, my chemistry teacher, who I didn't know at the time was going to be my chemistry teacher. They're basically like an open day. Me and my parents went, or me and my mum went, and one of the first things he said to me was like, "What's your maths grade?" Because there's no point even being in this room thinking about taking chemistry if you're getting anything less than an A. And at the time, I was getting a C. I was just scraping a C as well. I was not doing good at maths. And yeah, that was the first thing he said to me. And he was like, "Well, there's no point even being here if you're not going to get an A. So don't bother applying for my class, basically." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I freaked out because at the time, 2016, 2017, I desperately wanted to be a doctor. That was the only thing I wanted to do. It was definitely inflicted from my parents. But at the time, it's what I thought I wanted. It's what I wanted to be doing with my life. And I was working hard to try and get those grades to be a doctor. So this man who's never met me before telling me that there is no point applying to his class if I wasn't even getting an A and I wasn't going to make it and I couldn't be a doctor unless I was doing A stars and A's. I should just give up now kind of thing. It really gave me the biggest confidence knock I'd ever received at that point. Because before this, my whole educational experience, I was top or nearly top of my classes. All of my teachers loved me. I didn't really receive a lot of criticism because I was good as a student. Um, yeah, basically all of that jazz. So hearing this random person I'd never actually met before that moment tell me that there was actually no point. My dreams are crushed. Don't bother. I basically did a Rory Gilmore, if you know Gilmore Girls, and you know that Rory gets that knockback from Logan's dad, and he's like, "You're never going to be a journalist, give up now." And she basically like quit Yale and like moved into her grandparents' house and had a full like life crisis. I basically did that too. And this was pre-watching Gilmore Girls. So I just related to Rory on every possible level, you know? So I pulled a Rory Gilmore. I freaked out. I hated all my classes. I never wanted to turn up to school. I really struggled in chemistry. And the funny thing is, I understood a lot of the chemistry. It was confidence and a lack of determination to actually get anything done because I had this man in my head telling me I was never going to make it anyway. So what's the point? So I really let that get to me, and it really knocked my confidence in every aspect. I basically just started spiraling. My tutor, Mike, if you're listening to this, which you probably never are, I love you with all of my heart. You are the best man ever. I owe you a lot. I wouldn't be graduating right now without you. That is my ode to Mike. He basically dragged me through my college experience, I won't lie, along with my best friends. Um, I got to a point where like I was put on mandatory study like hours. Um, I had to mandatory show up for my classes. I had to report like homework, like quotation marks homework to my teachers. I had to go to after class lessons, specifically targeted, which I won't lie, every single one I had to go to those. I literally sat there and I wanted to cry my eyes out the entire time because I hated it so much. Like I've never in my entire academic experience felt like I did in those 2 years at college. Um, so yeah, it basically got to a point like towards towards my actual exams where I just couldn't get myself out of bed. I couldn't get to class. I couldn't show up for those things. And before that, sorry, I dropped Spanish because I was still at this point trying at least to be a doctor. And I say trying very lightly. I'd given up, but my parents were like adamant that they weren't gonna let me give up. So we discussed it with Mike and stuff, and I dropped Spanish, which is probably the worst decision because Spanish was one of my favorite classes and I was good at Spanish. Was not good at chemistry at that point. World development was great. I loved my teachers, John and Tom, they were great. Um, yeah, so anyway, um, that teacher, that chemistry teacher, he ended up being my teacher for first year and not my teacher for second year because I point blank refused. And at some point, I actually had to report him for kind of racist comments and heavily misogynistic comments. Um, and his overall behavior towards me, like he would deliberately not answer my questions in class, even if I put my hand up and waited and waited and waited. He would dismiss me. He'd come over and talk to the people next to me, but wouldn't ever ask how I was doing, if I was understanding things, etc., etc. It was just very fucking racist and very side eye, criminal offensive side eye. So yeah, I ended up having to report that man. I never was in his class again, but by that point the damage was done. So yeah, by the time I got to my A levels, my tutor literally called me because I didn't show up for class that morning. Mike called me and he was like, Alex, is this just like a no day? Like, can you just not do it today? And I was crying my eyes out on the phone to Mike and I was like, I don't know what to do, Mike. I can't do it. Because it got to a point like that day specifically where I was like in a bad place. Like I was not in a good mental health space. Like my mum stayed home from work that day. It was a mess. Like he was gonna come round and like take me out for a coffee just to like get me out of my space and like make me move basically. Yeah, it was not a fun day. It's one of my lowest points ever. And it makes me emotional just thinking about it because of how deep and dark that point in my life was. And just like a comparison to where I am now, like it just makes me emotional that I've got myself to this place because I have. So yeah, it got to that point. I hit rock bottom basically, and we kind of had a conversation. My family, my best friends, my tutor, that nothing was going to change until I changed. So I started going to the gym. I started eating a bit better. I spent more time with my best friends. I spent more time studying just to be able to say that even if I got bad grades, I still worked hard. Um, and I kind of just really immersed myself into self-development. And this mainly started out as working on things like listening to podcasts, reading books, watching YouTube. Really specifically, these few men helped me so much. So Tony Robbins, Tom Bilyeu, Gary V, which is hilarious now because he's getting trolled on the internet, but love you, Gary. You helped me a lot in 2017, 2018. Who else? Dean Graziosi, Jay Shetty, Lisa Bilyeu, Tom Bilyeu's wife, Mel Robbins, um, Sage Robbins, Tony's wife, like just all of these people. I hardcore binged all of their content. And at this point, 2018 probably, obviously the only things you could really binge were YouTube and like Facebook videos, I guess. So I really did that. I was hardcore in that world. Um, but yeah, those people helped me enormously, like insanely, just shifting my mindset and learning new ways to think and learning how to regulate myself and my emotions to the point where if I had a bad day, it wasn't going to take me out for a week. It was just going to take me out for a day. Um, and it really did help me. Like I really did turn my emotional state around. I still had heavy anxiety. I still had some depressive episodes, but they weren't at the frequency or at the depth that they were during like 2017. And I am quite proud to say that I haven't had a dark moment like that since that time, which is a testament to how this work actually helps and changes you. So we're in 2018, 2019 now. I take a gap year with my best friend. We decide we're not doing the traditional path. I guess like a gap year is much more normal now, but still in 2018, it was kind of like, whoa, you're not going straight to uni? Like, that's weird. Um, so we went to Thailand for 2 months. I had a full spiritual awakening. It was like the most transformative time in my life up until now. Um, it was like freedom for the first time. It was traveling and seeing the world. Not for the first time because I'd been to Nigeria and things like that, but traveling solo with my best friend, like without family kind of thing. Traveling with my best friend, getting to speak to new people, see new places, hear different people's jobs and what they do for a living and how they've got to their stage in life. I met so many older couples, which was amazing. Bob and Susie, shout out, love you. This Canadian couple who really taught me a lot in like the 4 days that we spent with them. And their friend Richard, he was great too. They took us out for dinner, drinks. We loved it. Um, we really spoke about life, and Bob specifically, oh Bob, what a great name. He was talking about like some of his life regrets because obviously as someone in your late 60s, 70s, you have a lot of wisdom to impart. And he had adopted his daughter and things like that. And I won't go into his life story, but he was telling us some of his life regrets and some of his life wins. And he told me a lot about just gratitude and being appreciative 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 of the time you have with the people you love and always choosing to love people and being grateful for what you have because you never know when it's going to be taken away, that kind of thing. And just my time in Thailand was like, oh, the bomb. If you ever get a chance to go traveling and you have the funds and you have the access and you have the ability, I promise you it's the best thing you'll ever do. Some people, it's not the best thing you'll ever do because you're not that kind of person. But if you think you're that kind of person, take the risk, find out, because I can almost guarantee you're going to have a good time. Um, But yeah, it was a transformative experience. I decided that I wanted to give it another go with my A levels. I wanted to make sure that if it wasn't going to be medicine, I'd at least given it every possible chance for it to be medicine, because I'd given so much of my energy, so much of my time to be there and doing it then. So I restudied, I taught myself, I did my A levels from home because there was no way I was going back to that college. I wasn't going to be taught by another person because I knew myself. And at that point, I wouldn't have heard it. I wouldn't have taken it on board, and it would have just been a waste of my time. Also, not really possible because I'd already taken a gap year and I wasn't going to go another year back to college after my gap year. It just wasn't part of the plan. But anyway, I retook my A levels. I was in a much better headspace, even though it was still difficult. And eventually, I got an A in world development, a B in biology, and I still failed chemistry. Like, let's be honest, it's fine. I can admit that now. I failed chemistry, I got an E. But I was still proud of myself because I gave it a go. Like, I tried, and I still don't regret it to this day. As annoying as it was at the time, I didn't get any better. I think I got like 5 marks better than I did when I last got an E. But at this point, like, I'm glad I did it. It showed my perseverance, it showed my resilience, and it showed myself that if I really wanted something, even if I failed, I was going to go after it anyway. And that taught me a really valuable life lesson that regardless of whether you're good at something or not, as long as you try, that's all you can expect from yourself. That's all you can ask. And it's still valuable and you'll still learn something, even if you don't get the result that you expect or want. We now have finished our A levels. We are in 2019 summer. I go on holiday with the girls. We hit Zante. We have a blast. I'm talking to boys I shouldn't be talking to, and having just like a crazy 19-year-old summer. And it was great. I loved it. I came to uni, and I'm gonna kind of skip through uni a little bit because a lot of it is kind of just like partying and alcohol-induced decisions and things like that. But I came to uni fresh faced, ready to go, ready to make new friends. I did that. I met Sam. We had a blast. First year was amazing. COVID hit. COVID hit. And suddenly, instead of being surrounded by my friends in my own free space with like loads of time and energy and student loan money, I was immediately locked inside basically for the foreseeable future. And I really struggled. Again, reverted back to old habits, couldn't get myself out of bed, didn't want to open the curtains, didn't want to speak to anyone, didn't want to leave the house. It came to a point in lockdown where I don't think I left my house in like 6 weeks. Like, not even to go into the garden. I don't think I actually left the confines of my house in 6 weeks. And that's kind of scary. I didn't want to go for a walk. I didn't want to go outside. It all felt pointless. The only thing I did was like binge TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, talk to my boyfriend and my best friends, texting each other about nothing all day. It was a weird time. Everyone knows that weird COVID energy that we were just locked inside going stir crazy, trapped with our families, XYZ. So I reverted back to old patterns. I got into depressive episodes. I got into anxiety-induced episodes. I really struggled. And I then kickstarted my self-development journey again because I'd had such a great year at first year at uni. I really fell off on taking care of myself in a self-improvement way. I was taking care of myself in other ways and not so much in some ways like excessive drinking, that kind of thing that you do at your first year at uni. So I had to really kick myself up the arse coming towards the end of that first lockdown because I knew it was coming to an end soon. We had like the daily news conferences, bloody 10 Downing Street and stuff. Oh, what time? Reminiscing on those just gives me shivers. Like, I don't want to ever go back to that. So we got to coming out of lockdowns, going into lockdowns, coming out of lockdowns. I started uni again for my second year, which is basically majority online. I think I only had like 2 weeks of in-person classes and only one class was running in person. And it was a mandatory study of politics class, and it was the most boring thing ever. And we had to sit like 5 or 6 spaces apart. Like, oh, what a time. So during that, I got into my fitness phase a lot. That was good. I got into, again, YouTube, podcasting, learning more about coaching and being mentored and your mindset, heavily diving into like the mindset piece at this point. But it was still tied in with like doing uni work and that kind of thing. Fast forward, I'm meant to be going on a study abroad year. It gets pushed back, cancelled because of COVID. Japan was supposed to open their borders. They didn't. So it basically got till like the middle of April before I knew that I definitely wasn't going to Japan for my year abroad. So I was meant to be going in September. In April, I was still meant to be going. Obviously, I didn't. So in that time, I went traveling with Sam. We went to Interrailing in Scandi. That was the most amazing time. We had so much fun. We went to Thailand for 2 months. That was the best time ever. I love Thailand. As you can tell, it's basically the only thing I talk about ever. And yeah, come that summer, actually, not even that summer, the January of my study abroad year, my mental health was down bad again because I was meant to be in Japan. I wasn't. I was floating. I wasn't with my friends at uni. I was like stuck at home with my parents without being able to do anything. I couldn't get a job because I was still meant to be going to Japan every other week, basically. So I spent months in limbo. And it really got me down because I was just doing nothing. I wasn't enjoying anything. I wasn't getting to look forward to anything because I didn't know what was the situation. I didn't know when I was going to Japan. It was a lot. And I was still doing online classes at this point. So I was awake from 1 a.m. till 9 a.m. in class in Japan online. So couple all of these emotions with sleep deprivation and a backwards nocturnal sleeping pattern because you had to study at 1 a.m. until 9 and homework. It wasn't looking good, bruv. It wasn't looking good. So I had to again kickstart my self-development journey and my self-improvement and my mindset. So January in 2022, yeah, we're 2023 now. Yeah, January 2022, this is where we are now. I find Riley from Sophie's YouTube. So Riley is a coach. She was my original coach. I got into hardcore mindset coaching from her. So I listened to their podcast. I listened to Riley's, everything she was putting out, that kind of thing. I found a whole network of coaches and mindset coaches and business coaches. And from there, it was like a snowball effect. I just deeply immersed myself into this world. And by the time I was out traveling, I really wanted to start my business. And I had done stints and they'd never stuck, but I'd been doing self-development work since 2017, like since that dark period. I've been immersed in hundreds of hours of content and teachings from mindset and self-development and self-improvement coaches and mentors and things like that. So unofficially, I've probably done 600, 700, 800 hours of mindset and self-development, listening, watching, teaching, coaching since 2017. And that sounds like a lot, but honestly, every waking, breathing moment when I was in these stints of self-improvement, the only thing I was listening to and watching and doing, even washing up, walking to the shop, XYZ, was some kind of self-improvement piece of content. And these podcasts were like 2 hours long, that kind of thing. So you can imagine the hours I've put into learning about the way your brain behaves, the way your hormones behave, the way your mind behaves when targeting this, the way your ego reacts to things, XYZ, manifestation and like calling in your desires, all of this stuff. I've spent hundreds of hours learning and investing and improving and integrating into my own life. And it wasn't until August 2022 that I actually decided to take the leap. I decided, actually, I do know a lot and I do know I can help people. And this is my passion now. Knowing how I got myself from my 2017 deepest, darkest moment to 2022 August, where I was feeling the best I'd felt. I was so interested in this world. I was so committed to changing everything I needed to change in order to live this life I currently live now. It was excitement like no other. And I was just so ready to take the plunge and to not let fear stop me, to not let fear of judgment stop me. So I did it. I launched my Instagram page. I launched my coaching business. At this point, I was also posting on YouTube a lot and I was editing, and it was great. And this past year, really, because I'm conscious that I've been recording for a long, long time. This past year really has just been a slog of running 2 businesses alongside my degree, working 2 jobs separate to that, a bars and dining job and a student content creator job, helping my family with things and helping myself with things and my friends, and being like part business manager, part social media manager, my sister with our podcast. There have been so many things and businesses and projects that I've been running in this last year that it really made me realize, when I was talking about it this week, that if you want something enough and you desire it enough, you are going to do anything to make it happen. You are going to run 2 businesses alongside a degree, alongside 2 actual jobs. Well, not actual jobs, but 2 physical in-person jobs. You're going to find a way to juggle it all, and you're going to find a way to do it. I'm pretty sure I should know by the end of this week, but hopefully I've got a 2-1. I'm managing to get a 2-1 in my degree. Like, some people struggle to just do a degree, and that's no shade to them. Like, that is their life. That is their experience. That is how they manage and cope with their life. But it really proves to me that I wanted this bad enough. And at first it was medicine. Medicine didn't work out. I still tried for it. I still worked really hard. It didn't work out. Then I spent some time drifting, fell down a rabbit hole of this, fell down a rabbit hole of that. At one point, I think I wanted to be a full social media marketing agency. Anyway, I think I spoke about that in a different episode. And now I'm here as a coach, as a mindset coach, knowing that in the future I will be a business coach. It really just makes it clear to me that it doesn't matter what obstacles come my way. It doesn't matter how slow the process is. It doesn't matter how fast the process is. I know that when I want something, I'm going to do everything in my power possible to make it happen. And as long as I go with that kind of mindset to anything, I am unstoppable. I might be delusional. Yes, I might be delusional, but I will be unstoppably delusional, you know? And I just wanted to sort of talk about my story, because I feel like a lot of people think, oh, well, you've never spoken about mindset coaching to us before, so you must be pretty new to this. Like how long have you been doing this? And the honest answer is actually like 5 years. I have actually been building my knowledge and my skills and my ability to regulate my emotions and continue since 2017, since that horrible episode in my life. And since that stupid man told me I couldn't be shit, basically. But knowing now where I am and how I've gotten here in this way, I know if I wasn't doing this work, I wouldn't be in the situation I am now. I wouldn't have the drive I do. I wouldn't be able to be a mindset coach. I wouldn't be able to hold this kind of capacity for myself and for others. I wouldn't love people this much. I would probably be still a pretty sad, depressive episode, anxiety-filled person. And I just want you to know, like, if you are finding yourself resonating with any part of my story and you find that actually you do relate to this part or this part, or you're still in the stage that I was. It is possible, and it is very achievable to get yourself out of that place. And the only thing you need is your determination and the ability just to know that it's possible, because your belief that it's possible is half the battle. I think a lot of people get stuck just thinking it's never going to change and there's nothing you can do to change it, but actually there is. And if you trust yourself and believe in yourself and make the moves that you need to make, regardless of how small they are or how big they are, you're going to incrementally see change. And suddenly you'll look behind you and you're 5 years down the line wondering how you ever got to that stage and how you are here now. And you'll be thinking back on it thinking, wow, it was every little time I picked up that podcast instead of binging that TV show. It's every time I listened to the better thinking thought than deciding not to. And I just want you to know that if you ever reach that deep, dark, rock bottom place, that it's okay to be there right now. And if you need to sit in that for a moment, then do, but don't wallow in it. Don't pity yourself. Don't shame yourself for it either. And you can climb back out of it. And the climb is as hard or as easy as sometimes you make it. I think we can easily convince ourselves that we're on a slippery slope to nowhere rather than actually thinking, okay, I've got a ladder now. Let me climb myself out, climb my way out. But yeah, just know that if this is your life situation, maybe there's someone out there, even if it's not me, a mindset coach, a motivational speaker, a therapist, a person out there for you that is going to help you unlock the keys to your own future. And it might take 5 years, it might take 2, it might take 6 months, but you will get there. And I just trust that you know you can do this, because I believe you can do this. And yeah, that is my story basically. And I just was reflecting on it this week and I thought, I'm going to have to talk about this because it's been a long journey. It's not been overnight. It's not been, okay, I woke up and the next day I was suddenly lacking fear and lacking all of the emotional baggage that I used to have. It took work, and I'm finally here in this place, and there is still further to go. This doesn't really ever stop, but it can definitely get less bad. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on this. I feel like I blabbed a little bit, but when don't we in this podcast? I will leave it here. If you have any questions about my story or want to know more about a specific part, the deets. Hopefully I went into enough detail this time, but if there's more to add, I will definitely let you know. But I'm so grateful if you made it to this part. I will see you in the next episode.